your very first season with REALice. Tell us about that facility and tell us what you were using before this season.
I believe going on our fourth season, started to be built in, I think, around 2017. We opened it up the year that COVID hit in 2020. The system that we used before, we used hot water, that kind of stuff. In our old rink, we had, it wasn't, we have an ammonia system now. So the old rink was like brine, that kind of stuff in the floor that run through the pipes. Now we're on ammonia system. So much better technology with the new rink than we had in the old rink.
Were you not also using a reverse osmosis system before?
Yeah, we was in the new rink, yes. We were using that, and the softener system we were using to keep the water cleaner.
Okay.
And then, because now that we're on REALice, we don't use any of that anymore. It's straight cold water out of the pipe. So
tell us, how is your ice?
My ice right now is awesome. It's much clearer than what it used to be, a lot hotter. Less snow. My men's hockey coach, who is a real pain when it comes to the ice, is falling in love with this. He was on it a couple weeks ago. He had a clinic here with prospects going off to college.
Oh, there, the Colby Mules hockey.
Yeah,
that's your rank. You're in the NCAA Division 3.
Division 3. Yeah.
For both men and women. Is that right?
Yeah, all of our sports is Division 3 here.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Really,
you guys play Middlebury, don't you? You play Middlebury?
We do.
Yes, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Yep. So this here was in the early stages when we first started to build up. I was pretty nervous because we'd never done this type of ice making. Yeah. And so I had reached out to Colleen about temperatures, where we should start when we started laying water, and she gave me some great information. The day we started to put the water down and to get the white paint down, some of my guys started to panic. They were watching the floor temperature rise. They were freaking out. So my supervisor, who's only been here for a few months, he's been here since late April, early May, he got a hold of the HVAC department and had them crank the temperature down to 14 degrees.
And what happened next?
Yeah, so when I came to work on Tuesday, the company that did the paint for us, they painted everything except the white. They sealed it. Wednesday we started building up, and not thinking about temperature. Stuff looked like it was laying good, freezing good. So we worked our butts off. Friday afternoon we go home, and then on Sunday morning I'm on the golf course, and Tyler here behind me sends me a text message and says, our rink is all cracked. The ice is completely cracked from one end to the other. I walked into the rink and Monday morning and went, uh-oh. That's when I reached out to Colleen and started the ball rolling. She said, yeah, you're too cold. And then I actually reached out to Dave from Vermont State, because I had seen some of the Zoom meetings you guys have had, and he's had the REALice for some time now. And he gave me some great information about shaving it down to about a ½ inch and then rebuilding and upping the floor temperature and that kind of stuff. So I took his direction. I upped my floor temp. We shaved down to about a ½ inch, and we started laying water. Couple days later, I upped my floor temp again, and we got it up to an inch, a little over an inch, and we haven't had an issue since. And all the cracks that were in my ice, you can't see them now; they're gone.
So how warm are you right now?
I'm running my floor temp right now at 26 degrees.
Woo! I love it.
20.
You know, I talked to the boys at Castleton about it as well. Like what you said, you talked to Dave Manfredi down at Castleton, and it was, and I really appreciate him so much. They've had REALice there for 13 years right now, so they're pretty much experts. And I think that they're the ones that first told us that do that early morning dry shave. That's going to set up your ice for success all day long. So they've got that whole experience about it. And when I called Steve Wolf up earlier last week to just say, hey, everything is going really well at Colby now, and they've increased their temps quite drastically. And he said, oh, they're running at 25. I think that the highest we've ever been at is at 22. And I said, okay, but look, you've got a different facility compared to what Colby is at. Colby has got insulation. It's not, taking on those outdoor temperatures. Every single ice rink is different.
Yeah. We, when they built this facilities, they built it to the state of the art. I mean, this place is gorgeous. And any of you guys are up in Maine, feel free to stop in and look at this place. This athletic complex is amazing. So, and I think my dehumidification system right now is running about, I'm trying to think what Tom told me. He's my HVAC expert. I think we're running around 60%.
Typically with hot water floods, you're probably setting it between 50 and 55. So running it up to 60%. I know that those Castleton boys are running at 65%. And that happens with the water that has less humidity. But the cracking thing, and I'm going to bring in Zion right now. So Zion Cruz is in Fraser Lake, British Columbia. He's back at the rink, but last year he wasn't there anymore. He was working on public works projects. This year he's back at the rink, but you guys had cracking too. Tell me about that.
We actually ran into the same problem. Our plant DDC started running, recirculating our brine through the chiller, and it actually tanked all the way down to about 14 degrees, and it went through the floor surface and lowered the ice temp to about 16 degrees from 24 side. So after we made the adjustment, we actually just opened up the doors to the arena because it was still in September and it was quite warm out. And we increased the floor temperature by 4 degrees, and then we had to partially had to melt our surface just to get those cracks to be removed, because we don't have the option to shave. Our decals that we put in the ice stick up quite a bit, so we need about 5/8 of an inch before we can actually start shaving.
Right. So but you did make it. It did get better.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So Zion, he's been very famous in things that I tell people, because Zion said to me a couple of years ago, my ice isn't wet, that's completely frozen. Because people say to him all the time, is your ice still wet? Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So is that a big difference from what you had with your hot water floods?
Oh, absolutely. The hot water almost looks a little bit, I wish we had a picture of our old ice, but it's almost milky, and there's almost a film on the surface. Now, a lot of that is due to the humidity in the building. As we put hot water floods down, it increases the humidity in the building. We don't have any dehumidifiers, and that moisture in the air just freezes to the surface like frost, and it was unappealing. And by mid-season, you couldn't see our lines anymore. That we would flood over that frost, and it would just get cloudier and cloudier. Now that we have REALice, we're able to maintain this kind of glossy look that you see here, pretty much all the way through the end of the season. This picture I took in about, I think this was January, and we had done our mid-season maintenance on it. We removed our entire operating depth all the way down to basically our decals, and then rebuilt about 3/8 of an inch of ice.
Well, it does look wet. I can't lie. No wonder they're surprised. But Paul Jackson, who's also on this, Paul, who's down in North Carolina at a Federal Prospect Hockey League arena, he also had that experience where the lines and logos, you could still see them all season long, and that was something new, right, Paul?
It was. Nobody knew. They thought, well, they weren't sure what was going on because we've always had cloudy ice. And mid-season, you couldn't see really much of anything. It was really bad, but complete change last year.
So you guys installed, I think it's, if I look on the list, it was 2017. So this is your 7th season.
Oh, wow.
REALice. So you don't anymore see what those savings are.
No,
You
we
have them.
Yeah, the municipality is pretty much used to how much hot water or how much gas we save, as well as how much runtime on our compressors we save. We saw a substantial decrease in compressor runtime pretty much right away in the first season when we dropped our flooding temperature from 165 degrees all the way down to about 60 degrees. So losing that 100 pounds of heat or 100 degrees of heat really helped in how our compressors run. So we find the runtime was almost cut in 3/3/4.
Well, and that's a substantial difference. You were telling me the other day that you're actually tempering it to 60, 65 degrees because
Correct.
you're incoming. How cold is that water? You're incoming?
It's roughly 45 to 50 degrees.
Yeah, that's
Fahrenheit.
pretty chilly.
Mhm.
So you really do need to temper it. And it's an older building as well.
Correct.
How old is it?
It was built in 1961.
Okay.
Yeah, it has no insulation and no heat in the bleachers. So when our patrons sit in the bleachers, they've got full parkas and blankets on them.
So back to you, Roger. Have you seen reduction in your runtime hours so far?
The guys from the HVAC department are starting to take numbers every day, so we can see what's going on. I can tell you, because we have access to our chiller room, and with the old system, the way we used to put the hot water down, 2 compressors running all the time. Now we're only seeing one compressor running, and we have 3 compressors in our chiller room that are 100 horsepower each, and we're down to, it looks like just one right now. I have seen nothing more than 1 compressor running at a time. So if we ever have a normal Maine winter like we used to, I believe that my floor temperature can be evened up even higher if it's cold outside. Tyler fell in love with the hand wand. He loves that thing. It makes life so much easier, you know, instead of 5 guys in there moving hoses back and forth and blah, blah, blah. It's 3 guys, you know, 1 guy running the wand, 1 guy just moving the hose from his feet, and 1 guy reeling it up as we come off the ice. So I'm saving manpower just with that aspect.
Right, and that's a really important part. And I'm going to call on Wayne Bacon from Slave Lake. He can talk a little bit about the less maintenance that he actually sees. Wayne has got a twin rink. He just put in his 2nd rink about 3 weeks ago, I think. Wayne, can you tell us a little bit about your lack of maintenance there?
That's one thing, you know, Colleen, like, I think we've had this now for coming almost 3 years, and the ice maintenance is just sickening, man. Like, I went again here. I had a hockey schools, 5 of them right in a row, 5 weeks in a row. And I just went out just for something to do the edges and stuff, which didn't really need it. Like I say, my ice maintenance is really down 100%. Like, I'm enjoying it. I love it. You know. Why
is your ice maintenance down?
Honest to goodness, I think it's got to do with REALice 100%. I mean, my board's going around. I don't have any condensation or nothing on the sides, no buildup. The players love it. Yeah, the screws are always showing. I don't know. Maybe it's just because we take care of the ice. I don't know. But yeah, ice maintenance from prior, like I said, was 2 to 3 times a week, and I'm lucky if I do one once a month.
Have you seen that clear ice, that REALice that we talk about all the time? We always say that we give you dense, clear, durable ice. Do you see that?
Oh yeah, this we were shocked. Tyler and I, we couldn't believe just how much clear and how much the color from the paint is showing compared to when we were running hot water. One of the guys said it, you know, after a couple months of doing ice maintenance and laying hot water, your lines are faded, you can barely see them. Right now, it's clear.
Well, that clear ice that we talk about, it also can be a little bit of a problem. And when I talked to Zion last week, he said that he had a solution for it. So what is the problem, Zion, and what is your solution?
So as you build your ice, I don't know how you guys do it if you build all the way to the top of your ice, but when we build our ice, we get it to a point where we can actually take our Olympia or resurfacer out, and then we'll build the rest of the surface with our Olympia. But what happens is those tires have studs in them, and you run up and down the ice with your studded tires, and it gouges the crap out of your ice. Well, 2 years ago, we had this idea of doing the same thing, but with non-studded tires, because we're not cutting the ice at that point, we're building the ice. So we actually went out and purchased extra rims, non-studded tires, and we touch our conditioner down just to where the towel bar hits the ice, and then we start laying our water down, and that was quite effective. We actually built all the way up to 1.25 inches, and then we shaved 1/8 of an inch at the very end just to flatten it out, and then put the studs back on, and it was very good. No problems.
I think that that's a very clever idea. I love that idea.
The byproduct of the REALice system, a benefit to it would be lowered compressor time, less gas and electric usage. But the main priority in our rink is the ice surface itself and how it translates into our end users. So for example, figure skating, when they do their tricks, they use their picks. It does less damage. Our men's hockey team finds that the ice is really fast and hard, and the clarity you can't beat. I would say that's the main objective of REALice is the end quality of it. If you have heat in your building, for example, you can combat the softness of your ice with REALice.
How so?
Mainly because it's way harder. It's denser. I know our chief engineer. He went out for a skate, and he told me you got to turn your ice up. It's way too hard. Like, I can barely skate on this thing. And I said to him, well, our set point's at 25 degrees Celsius Fahrenheit, so I don't know how else hotter you want it to be. And I think we played around with it, and I think when it started getting soft, it was around 28, 29. It was starting to get a little soft.
Like when you guys are first putting the ice in, do you drop your slab temperature quite a bit because it's still fairly warm?
Yeah, Casey, we usually do at the beginning of our season, because our internal temperature is it's usually sitting around 15 to 18 degrees in the building. Sorry, that's Celsius. So we'll set our sheet to about 23 degrees Fahrenheit, and then we'll throw water down and see how it reacts. If it's taking a long time to set up, then you would turn it down. Just do it per degree, and then play with your water and see how that works. But usually, if you put a light mist down at 23 degrees up here, it freezes instantly. It doesn't take any time.
Wayne Bacon, your second sheet of ice, you set it at 21 the other day.
The first two went in at 21. I'm just putting the second sheet in on Tuesday. Being that I had this hockey schools for the 5 weeks in a row, there was a U18 on one of these hockey schools, and one of the hockey players was from the NHL Bear, playing with the Washington Capitals right now. He was totally amazed with this ice surface. They were doing drills around the face-off circles, and he come up to me after about an hour of them cutting hard, and he goes, "Wayne, you don't even have any scarring." He said, "I've never seen that before." So that's all up to REALice, and like you say, your temperatures and stuff. And also there was other issues that they didn't want floods in between because the snow wasn't collecting. And that was really cool. So that was just something. And he did say we had one of the best ices he's ever been on. He wouldn't tell me, though, which ice was better, but it's probably Washington, I'm thinking.
That was ours in Winston-Salem.
Oh, that's what I was talking. I got you there, buddy.